Once the FBI concludes its investigation, corruption cases then end up in federal court. It's there that Tucson attorney Sean Chapman has defended a handful of agents. We spoke to him about some of his experiences. In your experience, how are some of these agents or officers actually recruited?
What happens quite a bit is that the agents themselves may have grown up in the communities where they're working. For example, Border Patrol the agent may be from Nogales and have family both in Nogales, Arizona and Nogales, Sonora. And what I see happening quite frequently is that maybe some of their relatives are involved in cartel activity and they find themselves getting involved in that way. And somebody that never thought that they would do anything like that ends up taking a couple grand to allow a load of drugs go through the I-19 checkpoint or something like that.
I mean, what is it that lures them to even consider, given that they have a decent job with wages and benefits?
If you think of maybe a young guy that's 22 years old that has a high school diploma and all of a sudden he's making $95,000, $100,000 a year. He never thought he'd be making that much money. He's got a house in Sahuarita, and he overextends himself. You know, he can't pay his car payment, his mortgage payment, because he doesn't know how to handle his finances. And then maybe somebody you went to high school with in Douglas or Nogales says, "Hey, I know how you can pay these bills off real quickly." And that's frequently how it starts. The other way it'll start is just any agent that's in trouble financially that lives in one of these small communities, people hear about it and they know about it and the temptation's there, and they unfortunately occasionally make that error.
In your experience, does the agency actually prepare these men and women for the potential of being asked to do something?
I think they do, but I think that there's a fundamental issue that I see is that agents are allowed to work in the communities along the border that they grew up in, which is a huge temptation, as I discussed. In addition, I think that they're much better now than they were 10 years ago. The Border Patrol 10 years ago had a huge hiring spree, and they hired a lot of people without really fully vetting the candidates, and as a result there was kind of a rash of agents that had corruption issues and had to be dealt with. But I don't think it's like that anymore.
We live in polarizing times when it comes to immigration or law enforcement. How easy is it to mount a defense in a case like this one?
There's a couple things that happens anytime a federal agent or any police officer gets charged with a crime. The first thing is you have to think about the jury that's being selected, because in today's society there's such strong feelings about the immigration laws and how we treat people along the border. And so the community's really divided. There are a lot of people that think that if you're an agent, you can do no wrong and you should be given a medal just for being a law enforcement officer. And there are other people that want to demonize you because you're in law enforcement. So it makes it really difficult to find a fair jury in that type of case.
If someone is in federal law enforcement and charged and possibly convicted, how easy is it to recover from that?
Oh, it's not. I mean, it's a stigma that carries with these people for the rest of their lives. And it's also a stigma for people that have been falsely accused. I'm currently representing an agent that in a federal case, and I'm not going to get into detail, but in my opinion is absolutely 100% innocent. And I believe that even if he's found not guilty eventually, and I think he will, he's always going to carry the stigma of having been accused of criminal behavior. It's never going to leave him.
Okay. Sean Chapman, thank you.
You're welcome.